Ever wonder how your breakfast evolved? From legend-filled tales of hyper-goats discovering coffee to Queen Victoria's unexpected role in muesli's rise, the foods we eat each morning took a fascinating, winding path through history to reach our tables. Herb Peterson, who owned a McDonald's franchise in Santa Barbara, California, came up with a bold idea: a breakfast sandwich at a burger joint. He knew convincing Ray Kroc, McDonald's owner, wouldn't be easy, so he invited Kroc to his store instead of just explaining over the phone. Peterson wanted Kroc to taste the sandwich firsthand. In 1972, Kroc drove down to Southern California, tried the sandwich, and listened to Peterson's detailed 14-point pitch. They soon settled on a name, the McMuffin, thanks to Patty Turner, wife of McDonald's CEO at the time. What followed was a 3-year effort to prepare McDonald's nationwide to offer breakfast, transforming the chain and changing fast food menus forever.
Breakfast at McDonald's gives your day a great beginning. Scrambled eggs and sausage help the salesman make his sale.
By 1981, breakfast made up 18% of McDonald's sales. Kroc's impression of that first Egg McMuffin? Simply unforgettable. An egg that had been formed in a Teflon circle, with the yolk broken, and was dressed with a slice of cheese and a slice of grilled Canadian bacon. This was served open-faced on a toasted and buttered English muffin. Over 50 years, the classic McMuffin stayed true to its roots, yet its arrival revolutionized fast food breakfast forever. Puffed rice made a dramatic debut in the U.S. at the 1904 World's Fair, where scientist Alexander P. Anderson demonstrated a novel way to transform raw rice. He superheated grains in sealed metal tubes until the pressure forced them to burst, sending clouds of puffed rice into a massive container with a startling bang. The spectacle wowed crowds, and fairgoers quickly bought into the novelty. Over 250,000 bags sold like popcorn. Anderson, already affiliated with Quaker Oats, helped launch puffed rice as a boxed breakfast cereal the following year. But long before puffed rice dazzled American audiences, it was a culinary mainstay across India. There, it's been enjoyed in countless forms for centuries, particularly as part of vibrant street snacks like jal muri or bel puri, which combine the light crunch of puffed rice with tangy chutneys, roasted nuts, mustard oil, and aromatic spices. In parts of eastern India, puffed rice is paired with spicy mutton curry in a dish called moody mansa, known locally as the breakfast of warriors. Some legends even connect it to Emperor Ashoka in the 2nd century BCE. Far from sweet cereals, early puffed rice dishes were bold, savory, and deeply rooted in tradition. Shakshuka has surged from relative obscurity to a brunch favorite over the last 3 decades, becoming a beloved dish on menus worldwide. At its core, shakshuka involves eggs gently cooked in a fragrant sauce made from tomatoes, peppers, onions, garlic, and spices. But the recipe varies widely depending on the chef and region. Its exact origins are hotly debated across the Middle East and North Africa, with several places claiming to be shakshuka's birthplace. Unlike Turkish menemen, which features scrambled eggs, shakshuka uses whole eggs baked into the sauce. The recent popularity boom is largely credited to Bino Gabso, a Libyan-Israeli restaurateur who revitalized the dish at his father's Jaffa restaurant in the early 1990s by renaming it Dr. Shakshuka. Before that, shakshuka was mostly enjoyed within Israel's Sephardic Jewish community, tracing its roots back to North Africa. The dish truly skyrocketed in popularity when Yotam Ottolenghi's best-selling cookbook Jerusalem introduced shakshuka to a global audience, inspiring home cooks everywhere. Interestingly, the original shakshuka may not have been read at all. The word shakshuka means a mix-up in Barbar, referring to a hearty combination of fresh vegetables topped with eggs. Green shakshuka, often made with greens instead of tomatoes, is thought to be closer to the dish's authentic pre-tomato form, both visually and historically.
A good bowl of pho will always make me happy. Take me to that special place where everything is beautiful and nothing hurts.
Though Vietnam is often thought of as warm and tropical, northern winters, especially in the early mornings, can be quite brisk. On foggy days when the chill lingers, locals often reach for a steaming bowl of pho, a savory, comforting broth filled with noodles and meat. It's the kind of warming, satisfying meal that hits the spot in colder weather. Rich in flavor, but lighter than many Western comfort breakfasts. Pho's origins trace back to the late 19th century. In 1898, under French colonial rule, Paul Doumer, governor of Indochina, commissioned the construction of a massive silk factory in Nam Dinh, just south of Hanoi. The region saw rapid industrial growth, attracting French workers who brought their appetite for beef. This new demand shifted local food trends. Street vendors, previously using crab and water buffalo, began incorporating beef. especially bones discarded by butchers, into their noodle soups. Early pho was likely a smaller, simpler dish, served from shoulder poles with steaming pots hung at each end. These vendors often set up shop in the cool mornings when business was best. Though pho bowls today might be supersized, the tradition of warming up with this humble, hearty soup still holds strong. Bagels may be a New York City staple today, but their backstory stretches far beyond delis and corner carts. One dramatic origin legend takes us to 1680s Vienna, where a baker supposedly crafted ring-shaped bread to honor the Polish king who helped lift a 2-month siege of the city. The bread's shape resembled stirrups, or Beutel in German, and the bagel was born, or so the story goes. Yet, the real history is likely older and even more interesting. Food historians and sources like NPR point to a Polish bread called owernauzek, first mentioned in the 14th century as a precursor to the modern bagel. These circular breads were boiled before baking, a step essential to achieving a bagel's dense, chewy texture. In fact, it's the boiling process, not any specific water source, that defines a true bagel. According to The Atlantic, this boiling method may have also served a cultural workaround. By parboiling the dough, Jewish bakers may have technically avoided religious restrictions that limited Christian consumption of bread made by Jews. Though today's bagels come with cream cheese and lox, their roots lie in centuries-old techniques and traditions, ones that many modern bagel lovers would likely still recognize. Britain's enduring love for hearty breakfasts dates back to the Dark Ages, and like many traditions in English society, it began with the aristocracy. The early version of the full English breakfast was an elaborate morning feast, often served after a hunt, designed to impress guests with the wealth and variety of the host's estate. By the 1800s, these breakfasts could include up to 24 dishes, everything from grilled kidneys and meat pies to seasonal fruits, smoked fish, and rustic breads. It was a showcase of local produce, regional styles, and servant-prepared abundance, resembling a medieval banquet more than the plate we know today. Fast forward to the Edwardian era, when industrialization, improved transportation, and tourism helped shape the more standardized version of the full English. Hotels set clear expectations for what breakfast should look like, and modern kitchen routines emphasize speed and consistency. The modern full English typically includes bacon, sausage, eggs, baked beans, toast, and often mushrooms or grilled tomatoes. Black pudding, blood sausage, is still a staple, especially in Northern England and Ireland, where white pudding and extra sausages join the spread. Scottish breakfasts might feature haggis, and in Wales you'll often find laver cakes, made from seaweed. While the ingredients may have changed, the full English remains a cultural touchstone, deeply tied to tradition, identity, and the comforting idea that breakfast is something worth celebrating. Despite its name, French toast didn't originate in France, but chefs everywhere love this timeless, comforting dish for good reason.
That doesn't make sense.
What we now call French toast has roots that stretch far beyond France, or even the Middle Ages. According to Tasting Table, the earliest known version appears in De Re Coquinaria, one of the world's oldest cookbooks, often linked to the Roman gourmand Marcus Gavius Apicius. Though he likely didn't author it himself, Apicius became the enduring symbol of elite Roman dining, and his name was later attached to this celebrated collection of recipes. In ancient Rome, cooks prepared what was called pan dulcis, a simple yet indulgent dish. They would cut thick slices of fine white bread, remove the crusts, and soak the pieces in a mixture of milk and beaten eggs. Once fried to golden perfection, the bread was topped with honey, creating a rich, custard-like treat. So while the French call it pain perdu and the British refer to it as eggy bread, the concept dates back to imperial Rome. Travelers of the time seeking a sweet, satisfying bite might not find French toast, but a trip to a Roman market could easily land them a plate of warm, honey-drizzled pan dulcis. In the 1860s, grieving the loss of Prince Albert, Queen Victoria retreated to the Swiss Alps in search of solace. Her extended stay among the crisp mountain air and serene landscapes seemed to rejuvenate her. When word spread across Europe that the monarch returned to London in much better spirits, Switzerland gained new fame, not just for its scenery, but as a destination for health and healing. Fast forward to the 1890s, when Dr. Maximilian Oskar Bircher-Benner opened his wellness clinic overlooking Lake Zurich. His sanatorium promoted vitality through structured routines, natural foods, fresh air, and physical activity. Central to his therapy was a raw food dish that would later become known as Muesli. Originally called the Apple Diet Meal, Bircher-Benner's creation was built around grated apple, softened oats, and a handful of nuts. Patients ate this small mixture before each meal, not as breakfast, but as a kind of palate-prepping health tonic. The name muesli, meaning little mush, reflected its texture and simplicity. Far from the sweetened cereal we know today, early muesli was a medical remedy meant to nourish and purify. Those early eaters weren't chasing flavor. They were following a strict regimen of dietary discipline, believing that raw, plant-based foods could restore health from the inside out. Coffee is more than a morning habit. It's a global ritual. About 90% of Americans consume caffeine daily, tapping into its brain-boosting powers. It sharpens focus, speeds up neural activity, and clears mental fog. No surprise then that by 2020, nearly half of U.S. households owned a single-serve coffee machine. It's not just a drink. It's a productivity tool with a rich, roasted aroma.
Hey, dude,
Please, don't even talk to me until I have my coffee. Okay?
Oh, hey, Tim.
Sorry, I haven't had my coffee yet. No.
Coffee plants originate near the Gulf of Aden, where the Arabian Peninsula nearly touches the Horn of Africa. A popular legend from around 800 CE tells of Kaldi, an Ethiopian goat herder whose goats became unusually energetic after eating red berries from a mountain shrub. Kaldi supposedly brought the berries to monks, who brewed the first cup of coffee by accident. Though charming, this tale likely emerged centuries later. Historical evidence shows Ethiopian nomads using coffee berries as early as 575 CE. However, as PBS notes, roasting beans to create a beverage resembling modern coffee didn't become widespread until around 1300. Interestingly, the Gala people originally consumed coffee berries differently. They combined the stimulating fruit with animal fat or ghee to make an energy-dense snack. This early preparation served as a potent, protein-rich boost, perfect for warriors needing strength and alertness before battle.